40 years ago, New York's Stonewall riots kicked off the global lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgendered liberation movement. In 2009, Jerusalem celebrates the anniversary at their annual Gay Pride Parade. But the LGBT community in the Holy City still faces a unique challenge, reconciling their homosexual and religious identities. Talia Lev is a member of Bat Kol, a support group for Orthodox Jewish lesbians.
I never knew that there was an option to be able to be religious and to be a lesbian. So when I met my partner, I was living in the closet with her, and a friend of ours mentioned to us that there was an organization called Bat Kol. And from that first experience, we realized that this was the ideal community for us to belong to because women were really living full lives there without compromising on their identity. And so it was a role model for us on how we could potentially live.
But Jerusalem's conservative religious community isn't ready for Stonewall in the Holy City. Moshe Feiglin is a member of the Knesset for the Likud party and founder of the Jewish Leadership Movement.
Look, what Judaism think of homosexuality is very, very clear. Look at the Bible that the Old testimony that all three religions believes in talks very clear against one male sleeping with the other. Talks very clear about what brought the destruction of the world.
Jonathan Ger is executive director of the Jerusalem Open House for Pride and Tolerance.
My reading of the scripture suggests otherwise. I believe that the terminology used in the Bible refers to a point in time in history where there was no such thing as affection between members of the same sex, but rather sex between two men was an act of violence. And I believe that is what the Bible actually prohibits, sexual violence, and that's something that I can definitely sign on to.
At times, the religious tension turns into violence. Jerusalem's first openly gay councillor had death threats made against him. The city's only gay club was burnt down in 2005, and that same year, a religious protester stabbed 3 people during the Pride Parade. On August 1, 2009, a gunman shot and killed 2 teenagers in a Tel Aviv gay center. In this tense atmosphere, Jerusalem's LGBT community continues to hold their Pride Parade every year.
I believe that Pride March has to happen because there still does need to be a level of provocation due to the fact that the community is so marginalized in Jerusalem. I don't think that it will continue to be a provocation. I think it's only in the beginning phases. Sometimes you need a little bit of a, something to shake things up so people sit up and take notice.
If you want to do what you want to do in your in your home, it is one thing. But once you trying to make it the way the entire population is supposed to live, you become a threat.
For many, the challenges don't start on the streets of their city. They start at home.
Our experience is that the more faith-based a community is, the larger the identity crisis is when a person learns of their sexual or gender orientation, and that self-afflicted harm, be it anorexia, and all the way to suicide, are significantly higher within these communities.
It is total nonsense. Total nonsense. I don't believe that, no. This is not reality the way I know it.
But if that's their personal experience, you still...
I don't see them as honest people, and I don't believe them, period. I don't take them as a source of information for anything.
In recent years, Jerusalem's ultra-Orthodox groups have been gaining more power and influence in the city. The daily Haaretz accused them of trying to take over the city inch by inch, mile by mile. For the open house, this clash is also an opportunity for dialogue.
Over time, I hope what we'll be able to do is work with more and more religious leadership about how to best address LGBT people in their own community, to understand that what those people need, who are often very young kids, is not to be preached to and told what the religious scripture says they should and should not do. They learn the scripture, they know, they have the identity crisis resulting from that scripture. What they need is moral support, someone to tell them it might be religiously wrong, but you're still okay, you're still a person, we still love you.
They're trying to change the majority's values by force. And this is not a fighting for rights. It's a war.
There's a lot of fear. I mean, people are afraid. There's an idea that, you know, if you start messing with the boundaries, you're liable to lose all of them. And you have to overcome that fear in order to be able to even start working on anything. And so that's, to me, the biggest issue with the city. A lot of fear. A lot of fear.